Twice.
Coach, you got to see a lot of players play last week in the game. Any of the guys who got in later in the game you saw out there, and what you think of them?
Tanner Muse got in, was terrific. I thought the corners that got in the game did well, Trayvon and Trapp. And Dorian O'Daniel had an excellent game. I know, he's played from the beginning, in different packages. And but I really thought Tanner went in and did, obviously the pick always helps. You get a pick six, but he was great in his return. But he's been getting, kind of trending in the right direction during the course of the season for a guy that doesn't play as much. He runs with the twos, but and usually you don't really see guys noticeably get better if they're not playing a whole bunch of plays in a game. And he's been a guy that's been very noticeable to us over the last month, getting better.
I think this is the first senior class you've seen start to finish. Ben was one of the first guys you recruited. Can you talk a little bit about this defensive senior class and what they've meant to what you've built here?
Well, again, they've been through it all together, and there's not many of them, but it's a group of guys that what you love about them, you have seen them all just improve dramatically in their careers and really plugged into what we've asked them to do, have learned from others, and it's neat to see them now trying to mentor, a lot of our younger players, and we wouldn't be here without them for sure. And obviously got a deep connection to Ben, and again, he's been more than I could ever have had hoped for when we recruited him. And he's been a model of consistency, if anything else, very passionate. But I think it's been a reciprocal relationship with all of those guys. But we've gotten a little bit more out of them than we could have ever asked for.
Guys like Chad Smith, James Skowski, are they going to be able to replicate some of the things that Ben's done?
Maybe in a different way. Jamie's probably a little bit more emotional, but Chad's really come on and gotten more and more confident. And those are two of the players in particular, probably along with JD. Ben's mentored to everybody, but you asked about those two guys, and again, I'll throw in JD with those guys that they've all have really benefited from the relationship with Ben and watching him compete and work and lead and play.
What stands out about James Conner? What kind of challenge will he present for your defense?
Very physical. He's got a great will to compete and great toughness to him. And he's skilled and instinctual, very strong, but just this toughness. You love how he competes.
Coach, someone asked Coach Sweeney, so I might as well just ask you, do you have any desire to be a head coach one day?
I don't put very much time into it at all. So I don't know. It's really I just control what I can control, and that's here and now, and I love what I do, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And again, firm believer in fate. I'm not out trying to shop myself around. I just value what I have and try to get a little bit better every day at what I do. So again, said it before, love where I'm at. I feel very fortunate to be where I'm at, and I feel very fortunate to coach the players that we do. And Clemson, I don't see many places having more to offer than what Clemson does in regards to having success and fulfillment, and have a chance to win. So I don't really, other than knowing what I want to do post-coaching, I don't really spend a whole lot of time. And just family, where I want to live, all that kind of stuff. So.
When you see Pitt offensively with Matt Canada, do they look formationally?
Some things are very similar. He's had a few things. The tackle throwback screen, reverse is new. But he's very imaginative and creative, and does a great job with what they do. Got really good players, got a good O-line up there blocking. It's tough and physical, athletic, and they do a very good job. into both the run and the pass game and all the things that they do. You know, they scored a ton of points on a bunch of people. I think the least amount of points is 28 that they've scored this year, and have been in virtually every game other than the Miami game, you know, with their losses all the way to the last possession, and that's their style of play. They're in their comfort zone when the game's like that in the fourth quarter.
Guys, last week you held a potent offense to 0.
Mhm.
You see an offense in Pittsburgh that scored 28 or more every week.
Mhm.
Do you see on film like how a team is able to have consistency week after week after week offensively, and what you have to do maybe differently than teams who are a little more up?
Well, yeah, you try to. I mean, I think that's part of the art of coaching and game planning. And again, there's some things that we hang our hat on, and then there's other things that you have to tweak week to week to try to, what you feel like, right or wrong, is, you know, gives you a best chance to be successful. And if that's putting a 300-pound D lineman out there on a slot receiver and not letting him have a free release, then we'll do that. We're not afraid to do that, and just to try to help ourselves in different ways. And probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but it was effective. And losing the guy, you know, last week they lost their quarterback. That's always going to affect them. So you got to have a perspective on things too. And but week to week, again, I think this conference is diverse, if not the most diverse conference in college football, from what you're going to see week to week. And terrific players, great coaching, and just different issues every week. It's not the fun and gun, of the Big 12 every week. There, it's pretty much the same. You know, some teams are more effective than others, but I just use that, being experienced in that conference, but just being a fan of college football, I think it's very arguable that the ACC presents, just a variety of different issues, probably on both sides of the ball.
After a tough night for the secondary against Florida State, I don't think they had any PI calls against the other day against Syracuse. How pleased were
Well,
you?
Ben Boulware had a PI in that game too, so you got to throw him in there.
How pleased were you with
Oh,
that?
good. I thought we were good, and what I liked prior to the game is the focus and the attitude, the accountability before we ever went to the practice field, and then once we practiced last week. How we went about our business, taking ownership in things that we have to get better at, and again, hopefully that the things were said and the things that we did, and how we tried to hold them accountable, and the things that we worked on. Hopefully that validates again moving forward, helps in again the maturation of that group back there, and helps with our defense obviously. And from week to week, you're going to have different issues. Not everything's going to necessarily go your way. And again, sometimes the offense, your opponent's not able to exploit those issues. But as coaches, that's our job to say, they missed that one. It was there. And so sometimes it's more publicized than others when those yellow flags are flying everywhere. It's like, what are we doing out here? And we can't, play technique, and we stink, and we can't cover without holding, and what are we going to do? We got to change our scheme. All the different fatalistic, approaches or philosophies that are out there, responses. We just got to stick to the course, and I thought our guys again did a good job, and we did some things to try to help in different ways too. Again, every week, allows you to do different things, and sometimes you plan right, and sometimes you don't plan right.
Brent, what do you like about the way Kendall Joseph has played this year? And
Consistent.
Is that another example of the layers of recruiting that you guys have that you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't. We're lucky to have Kendall. He's again an instinctual player. Never gets real high, never gets real low. He's very focused, very serious. It means a lot to him what his teammates think about him, what his coaches think about him. It means a lot how he practices. He's completely, totally, fully invested. He values all of the things that you have to do before you ever get to the practice field and game day, and his preparation. He's got great respect for the process. Speaks volumes for, again, the seeds that were sown in him prior to getting here. A really good, tough program, consistent program like BHP. They did a great job getting him ready, and but he's a real humble, tough, hard-working blue collar. He's our kind of guy. but he's talented as well. But he's got a workmanlike effort. He doesn't let all that intensity or once in a blue moon out of control passion that his coach might place at his feet affect him. He's very strong-minded, very strong-willed, but he's been a real quiet, consistent part of our success this year. No doubt.
Older defensive backs have talked about Mark Fields, and they've said he stopped talking and started doing. Is that a good statement, or what?
I think that's accurate, and I think we've got a ton of guys that have that type of demeanor that have poured into him, that have helped him. So I think that he's recognized that all the. And he didn't do a bunch of it, but instead of trying to overthink things, keep your head down and just work. Occasionally, don't worry about the delivery. Just take the message and move forward with it. And I think that's really helped. Again, in the last 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks, has helped in his maturation and progress as a player.
You guys lost 3 members of the secondary to the NFL and are allowing fewer passing yards this year. Have you been surprised at all at how well?
That's always that. What does that mean? You don't know what that really means. We've been pleased with our positioning and being consistent. And again, like we said earlier, sometimes you might have a guy that's not playing with technique or discipline, but doesn't get exposed. And but on tape, or on game day or at practice, it's driving you bananas. Right. I think it's been a very disciplined group that I think that the byproduct of what you're seeing in the results or the lack of the big plays or the really dramatic inconsistencies really has nothing to do with the guys a year ago, but I think it has everything to do with how the guys have invested and how they're working and their coachability and just discipline as a player, to do my job, not try to do too much. And then sometimes, again, a year ago, sometimes they make plays too, So it was a very talented group, a lot of fun to coach that group a year ago. And, we weren't without our awards, obviously, but this group is another really good group and have had a great deal of success, and I think those are the reasons why.
Brent, does this offense test your linebackers and their discipline?
Oh, I think it tests everybody. It really does. I think it's a very much a different style of triple option approach. Some ways in the X's and the O's, it's triple option principles. They divide the defense with different concepts. Almost every play, you might have a jet sweep with a shovel option. You might have an inside zone with a pop pass, things of that nature. And we're going to have to play great team defense, and they don't just, unlike Georgia Tech, who runs like 3 formations, these guys present a lot of different, groupings and so forth. So it's not just the linebackers, but yeah, they'll be tested all right. And
Let him go. He's got to get to a meeting. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Yep.